Right, I'm Marcus Pickens, talking to Margaret Rand from, where should we say you're from? An independent...
Yeah, freelance wine writer.
Freelance
Decanter,
wine writer.
World of Fine Wine mostly. I edit Hugh Johnson's pocket wine book, and I'm writing a book this autumn about wine styles, comparing one style with another. Saying if you like this style, then try this.
Do you think today's tasting has been beneficial in giving you some clues to...
It's been extremely beneficial. I arrived with certain preconceptions. I don't like, if we're going to talk about Sauvignon Blanc, I'm not a great fan of the very simple, catty green style. I like complexity and minerality. Probably slightly more ripeness than I've associated with Marlborough in the past. But these wines were surprising. There were some wines there that were much more complex than I expected. With Andrew's help, I got a fix on the different regions, the different nuances of flavour and texture in the different regions, and that was very valuable. Sauvignon Blanc is a hugely popular grape variety still in Britain. But Marlborough has got itself a slightly diminished reputation in the last few years because yields, as we know, got tremendously high, and now those are being pulled back. There is possibly, I'm not a winemaker and I'm loath to give an opinion on things that are not my speciality, but maybe yields are still quite generous in some places. I don't know. Viticulturalists know far more about this than I do. What we want in Britain more and more is wines that have flavour but are balanced. You don't want an alcohol burn at the end, which I didn't find here at all, actually, but I have done in the past.
Yes.
You want concentration, and wines that are ripe and balanced and harmonious and seamless and all those obvious things. But I was very pleasantly surprised by a lot of these wines. The Pinots, I think, are improving. I don't think they have quite the charm, we were talking about this earlier, the seductiveness of Central Otago, say. But they do have nice balance and structure, and they're looking pretty promising. And Rieslings, just lovely.
Yes.
And Pinot Gris, I love Pinot Gris.
Do
I love
you?
Riesling. Yes, I do. I do. I think it's a really interesting, useful grape variety.
Yes. So do you think, in terms of the Marlborough story, I guess, do we need to stick to what we're doing, or do we need to diversify radically, or move ahead slowly? What would you say is...
I would say stress sub-regionality. Other people would say the opposite, because it makes the story more complicated. It seems to me that if you're going to be selling wines at a relatively high price point, which, all good wines aren't now in Britain, and VAT goes up again next year, so everything gets more expensive. Sub-regionality is going to be part of the story, because you do have these different styles, and you do have these different soil types and conditions. And that makes it interesting.
Yes. And what about layering with oak and other techniques that, with Sauvignon Blanc, say? Do you think that's something to be encouraged, to make it more food-friendly? Or do you think those wines that you saw today would be food-friendly enough as they are?
I think they're food-friendly enough. I don't think people look for oak on Sauvignon. If you're going to put it on, I think it should be so subtle, so tucked in, as not to be obvious. People buy Sauvignon Blanc, I would suggest, because it doesn't taste of oak. If they want oak, they go and buy Chardonnay.
Yes. And with Chardonnay, the Chardonnays you saw today, do you think that oak is still too prevalent? And we hear that from various markets.
I think it's being pulled back a lot. A lot. One or two were still a little bit oaky, maybe. But, no, it's pretty nicely integrated.
Good. Do you see a continuation of strong Chardonnay sales in the British market?
Yes. It's supposed
Always
to be
going to be number one.
but it's people still buy it. People still buy it.
With the rosé, you had a comment about Marlborough, rosé from New Zealand. Is that something we should explore more?
There's a boom in rosé. the moment.
Is that a trend or is that here to stay, do you think?
You tell me.
Yes, I'd like
It's-
to make predictions.
Yeah, exactly. It's shot up in the last couple of years. And now it's no longer a summer-only drink, it's a year-round drink. And that's also the case in France, funnily enough. Provence Rosé used to be a summer-only, a holiday-only drink, and now those Parisians are buying it all year round. Whether that will stay, I don't know. I don't know. It's a food-friendly wine. It goes with a lot of modern food. We were talking earlier about how most modern food is white wine-friendly, much more than red wine-friendly. I haven't seen many rosés in New Zealand, but those I have seen have been very nice. But rosé in England is so price-sensitive. People don't want to spend a lot on it. It's perceived as being inexpensive, which, of course, is ridiculous, but there we are.
Hard to change perception.
Yes, yes.
It really is. Well, that's
And other people can do rosé more cheaply than you can. So maybe you should, I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't measure on it, I don't know. But the wines, the wines are nice.
There's a lot of discussion here about Pinot Gris and labelling, Pinot Grigio,
Yes.
or, all sorts of other variations. New Zealand Pinot Grigio, all sorts of different Marlborough Pinot Grigio. What would your thoughts be on either the name, stylistically as well as going for that Grigio style, which we talked about earlier? Have you got any thoughts on that?
Well, your wine is not Pinot Grigio in style. If you take Pinot Grigio to be a very light, crisp, rather flavourless wine that really tastes of nothing at all. It's white wine. People don't want the flavour of wine. This is definitely Pinot Gris. It's going much more towards Alsace. It's a difficult wine to get right. Not many countries can get it right, to get that spiciness and the concentration and some punchiness as well, so that it's moreish and not just heavy. The Pinot Gris I've tasted in New Zealand on this trip have been a bit mixed. The standard not as consistent as, say, Riesling. Some have been a bit insipid, some a bit heavy and clumsy. These today were pretty good. More concentration, maybe, but definitely Pinot Gris. Definitely Pinot Gris.
Good comments. Yeah, there was a lot of discussion on that topic at the moment. Best strategy forward.
Yes. Whether anybody buys it, you know better than I.
Yes.
But, that's the style that you've got. That's the style you're getting.
Yeah, and to play with the style that we're delivered by nature. Yeah, arguably.
Just making life hard.
It is. Unrepeatable.
Yes. Yes.
Well, thank you very much for your time. I think we'll end it there. Any last thoughts?
I don't think so. Just more interesting wines than I expected, more complexity. And that's what we want. We want complexity, minerality, balance, above all balance, elegance.
Yes, just
Keep
a quick...
the alcohol down.
I was just going to say, alcohol.
What a difficult thing to handle. What a difficult, but being handled very well.
Well, good thoughts. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And please come again.
Oh, I will. Try and stop me.
We'll invite you back.
Thank you.
Thank you.